Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph LaBella.
And I'm Ron Sen. As always, a lot of controversy, a lot of issues, starting off with Lindsey Vonn, who retires from women's ski racing, the most decorated American ski racer ever, 82 World Cup victories, sets the record for most downhill medals, most appearances in 6 different world championships. So great career, amazing skier, especially in the downhill where you have to be fearless. And yet what she might get remembered for is her relationship with Tiger Woods.
Yeah, but she did have a great career. Didn't she win her last meet?
She got a bronze medal Sunday. So remarkable skier. And I mean, you got to be fearless to downhill race.
Oh, it's unreal. What a kind of, you have to be a great athlete to do what they do.
70 miles an hour on ice.
I know.
So the NBA seems overwhelmed with collusion these days. First, there's Anthony Davis's agent and Davis trying to get him to Los Angeles, to the Lakers. And then Ben Simmons now being investigated for talking with Magic Johnson about maybe working out with Magic this summer. I think he's a restricted free agent.
Well, he'd be able, well, maybe he can't with the president of another team.
Yeah.
But he needs to do a lot of work. But you know, you don't know. I mean, it's a tough situation for all those players because you know LeBron James is going behind everybody's back talking to people.
Well, there's an article in the Onion, the sports version of the Onion, David Silver saying, just tell us the top 3 teams where you go, and we'll see every player, and we'll try to get you there. Oh, and by the way, everyone can't play for Golden State.
But I mean, you have the right, as a player, you can talk to other players. Of course you can.
Sure.
I mean, LeBron did it back, years ago at Miami, and he's still doing it. But, a lot of players don't want to play with him. Just think about it. If you're a star player, why would you want to play with him? He likes to control the ball. It's all about him. You're a star player. You want to be on your, like Kyrie.
Well, when was the last time, I know Lonzo Ball's been hurt, but when was the last time you even heard his name? He didn't get to touch the ball anymore.
No, I mean, you knew that was going to be a bad situation, then Rondo going there. I mean, Alonzo Ball would be better off on another team. I know his father wanted him on the Lakers. That was before James went there, though. They couldn't be happy that James went there. They would have liked a guy like Leonard. Leonard would have been a perfect fit there.
Well, today the Browns signed Kareem Hunt, the player that was suspended for personal conduct, basically attacking a woman in a hotel. And so we'll see how that goes. There's been a lot of discussion that maybe the Browns might be playing the Patriots on the first game of Sunday Night Football. This is the 100th year anniversary for the NFL, and there's a thought that it'll be Packers, Bears, or some other traditional rivalry in the Thursday night game.
I don't know why they didn't put Dallas and the Patriots that Sunday night game. That would be a perfect game for the Pats to open up with, Dallas. I mean, the Browns and the Patriots, I don't think many people would be excited about that. They're still not one of the top teams in football.
Well, Baker Mayfield brought some life to them last year, and we'll see how it goes.
I hear they're going to be cutting Collins. They're
Really?
going to get rid of his contract. That's what I heard today.
There's a lot of discussion about Tony Romo's accuracy in making predictions on plays. And somebody, I think it was maybe the Wall Street Journal, did a study over a certain number of games and found Romo was about 68% accurate in certain situations, which is pretty darn good. I think as color guys go, he's got to be pretty happy. He's getting $4 million a year, and he's not getting beat up while he's doing it.
Did he get the raise, or was he getting $4 million?
I think he's getting it.
Because I heard there was a new contract coming for him.
Okay.
They want to keep him there, and he was great in the Patriots conference title game. But it's kind of easy when you have Brady, because Romo's a smart player. His problem was he was always injured.
Right.
And he had that bad on the snap, when the field goal, he dropped the ball. So that's what they think about when they think about him. But he was a very good quarterback. And he thinks like Brady does. He can think like a quarterback. But there's no way he can think like a rookie quarterback, some of these younger quarterbacks. But it's easier doing a Brady game.
Well, it was interesting. We'll talk more about the Super Bowl, of course, to see what the Rams didn't do things that bothered the Patriots: passes out of the backfield to receivers, tight end, and those shallow crossing routes. Now, part of the issue on the shallow crossing routes was Hightower and Van Noy started leveling people when they came across, much like the Patriots against the Rams in 2001, so that receivers just didn't get those free cuts anymore, and guys do have concerns about their health.
Yeah, I mean, they just had a great game plan, and the players played great. Look what they did in the playoffs.
Right.
The front seven.
Right. They showed all kinds of. There was a play where Hightower was filling a lane. The tight end was trying to block him, and he just picked him up and threw him down.
But didn't he look so much quicker than he did at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
I mean, he was like his old self.
Yeah, he was dramatically better. So obviously the injured Hightower and the healthy Hightower are just two different guys.
But too, the break the Patriots got, they get a bye to start their first round of the playoffs. Then they get a bye for the Super Bowl. So they had 2 weeks off. They played two games, and then they had 2 more weeks off.
And they had a bye in week 11.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of opportunities for guys to be healthy.
Gronk, especially Gronk and Hightower. I mean, they were like their old selves because they rested.
Brady got hurt against Tennessee with that quarterback
stupid
play, and Brady shouldn't be out running in the open field. Nothing good is going to happen there.
But they really came together, and we talked about that in the last show before the playoffs, that the Pittsburgh game they're going to be the champs because of the Pittsburgh game, and they just like the Seattle game when they beat Atlanta. They played Seattle near the end of the year, and they had 5 opportunities to score, and they couldn't get in. Well, you know what they did? They worked on the short yardage at the goal line. So what happens when they play Atlanta? They were down 16 points. So twice they had to get the 2-point conversion. Well, the first time they ran a play to White. The pitch the snap to White.
Right.
White goes in easy 2. The next time they throw it to Amendola, he's got 2 blockers, the quick pass. They worked on those plays because of the Seattle game.
They say normally for a game they have 2 2-point conversion plays, average game. But for the Super Bowl, they had 3 prepared. And then you think back to the Super Bowl, one of the key plays was Jason McCourty stepping in and breaking up the pass. Well, first of all, Goff didn't recognize that Cooks was wide open, and then he threw a wobbly duck in there. Now, it was a great play by McCourty to recover, but it was one of those plays that there's an old Yiddish saying, it says, could have gone this way, could have gone that way. And the Patriots were fortunate, and Cooks isn't the greatest at fighting for the ball either.
No, and that play there is they showed one thing, and then something else was open, and Goff thought he could throw to the left, but the safety slid over to the left, leaving Cooks wide open down the middle. But I mean, that was just a great play. I mean, he'll be thought of that. It won't be like Butler's play, but close to it. I mean, you need the great plays. Look when they lost 2 to the Giants. They couldn't make the great plays.
Right.
But, I mean, they just did everything right in that game, and Gilmore played unbelievable. I mean, that was worth it. I mean, when they signed him for $14 million, I said he's crazy, but look the way he's playing.
And a lot of people said it was a boring game. You're on the edge of your seat the whole game because a sack, a fumble, a pass interception that the Patriots allow anywhere along the line could have given the Rams a win.
Oh, yeah, and all the opportunities the Pats had.
Oh, right. They had over 400 yards total offense. I usually think about for each 100 yards of total offense, you should theoretically be able to generate a touchdown.
But here's what I look at, right, when they said Pats only scored 13 points. Well, Gostkowski missed an easy field goal in the first half. They had another opportunity from the 30-some yard line to kick a field goal, and a 4th and 1, and they went for it. So, I mean, if Gostkowski made that field goal, then they would have gone for the other field goal. So there's 6 points they cost them. But
well, did you see that his grandfather died the night before the Super Bowl? Yeah. So now, the field goal that he made in the first half and the one he made at the end of the game were almost carbon copies. They're just barely inside the left upright.
But, he had to go for the field goal at the end. You have to. You kick a 42-yard field goal, you win the Super Bowl.
Well, you hear the NFL mic'd up, and that Brady's talking. Belichick says something like, "What do you think?" And he says, "We have to kick the field goal."
Brady said it to him.
So,
of course. I mean, you got a guy, you're paying him $4 million a year. I think it was a 41-yarder, or 40,
Yeah.
right in that area. He kicks a field goal, you win a Super Bowl. Of course you're going to go for it. And no one else, what I didn't like what the Pats did in the last game, not once did they go with the fullback on a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1. He never got stopped. In the last 3 games of the season, he scored 4 touchdowns. You give him the quick hitter. Don't give it to Burkhead coming from 7 yards back when the linebacker is going to be able to come up. Give it to, the fullback in that case and get the quick, easy 1 yard.
Now, you hear all the time on, especially Felger and Maserati, they talk like you'd put any college running back behind a pro line and they're going to be awesome. I don't think it's quite so simple. I thought Michel, he had 6 touchdowns in the postseason. He didn't fumble the ball. He maybe isn't the greatest receiver yet, but he might be. I don't think he's going to have a long career because I don't think he's going to be healthy enough with his knees.
He's tough, though.
Yeah.
He runs hard, Ron.
He doesn't get stopped behind the line a lot.
Look at White his first year. I said, what did they draft him for? He couldn't even, he was afraid to run. He would run with 2 hands on the ball, go down every time he got hit. And look what he turned out to be. But he's not a basic runner. But Michel, I think he's going to get better and better. He's a tough, hard-nosed runner, and he's quick. He's not like some of the great runners.
Right.
I mean, that are really quick off, to cut and go. But he's got quick feet. He's tough, and he reads the blocks fairly well.
Right.
So I think he's just going to, it's good to have him. How do they know who they would have gotten? What was it, the 30th pick when they got Michel?
Yeah.
They could have got a defensive player that wasn't any good. And who am I? What do I know? I was upset that Belichick didn't draft an inside linebacker.
There was an announcer on one of the national TV shows, and he's saying, "What's the matter with the rest of you 31 other teams? Why are you trading with the Patriots? You're going to get a 6th-round draft choice back for Van Noy. You're going to get a 3rd-round draft choice for Trent Brown." He said, "Stop trading with them. They just take you every time."
But I think that Brown deal was a little payback to the Patriots.
For Garoppolo?
For Garoppolo. I think,
Never know.
why would they get a guy like Brown? I know they didn't want to pay him that much money, but they're going to lose Brown now anyway.
Yeah, no, he's going to be, if Solder got $15 million, he should be in that neighborhood.
Yeah, he's going to go for big money. They're going to lose him and they're going to lose Flowers. They're not going to give Flowers $13 million. They got Wynn. They drafted Wynn last year. Wynn's going to be their left tackle this year. Wynn's going to have a great career at left tackle.
Well, they have to get a commitment from Gronkowski as to what he's going to do, from McCourty and what he's going to do, because they're going to need a new safety.
McCourty's coming back. McCourty's not going. He's not going anywhere. $10 million a year?
Well, they need to get younger at safety. And
Well, how old's Harmon? Well, they got
Harmon must be around 30.
Well, they got the 12 draft pick. I think 12 draft picks.
6 in the first 3 rounds.
So they'll probably get a safety to come in. I mean, they got Harmon. Chung will be back.
And they need a tight end.
And you need a tight end and you need a receiver too.
Now, the other thing is, don't sleep on how good the Rams' defensive line was. So was good. Donald, they contained him.
Well, they double teamed them.
Yeah, but you have to pay a lot of attention to him. And Fowler was really good too. So it wasn't like the Rams just gave the game away.
How about those 2 long runs? It's unbelievable, those 2 long runs. And the last time they had the ball, when they were able to kick the field goal, I'm yelling, you got to throw the ball on 2nd down, and what was it, 2nd and 8? And then they have that 36-yard gain.
Well, they're 26 by
26.
both Michel and Burkhead.
That was amazing. I couldn't believe it when they ran the ball and they gained 26.
Well, we're accustomed to the Patriots over the years never getting 26.
But that was huge. That was really big.
What do you think the biggest need area of the team is for next year?
I would say if Gronk comes back, split end. If they can get a real good split end.
I mean, Edelman's 32. He's held together with, tape. And, he had a remarkable postseason, remarkable season, especially coming off an injury. Now, he's not allowed to say what he got busted for on PEDs. I'm sure he did something.
Hey, how about Amendola's getting cut? Why not sign him?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Miami's cutting him.
Well,
They don't want to give him the $6 million this year, so sign with the Patriots for $3 million. I'd love to see him come back to the Pats.
Yeah, for short money, that'd be
You
great.
kidding me with Brady? And you put Edelman's now really, you can split him out. You know, at times I run them too from
Right.
inside.
And then you got, we don't know what they're going to do with Dorsett. Presumably Patterson is going to be able to get more than they want to pay him.
I'd like to see Patterson stay.
I do too. You know,
I love him.
he's tough. I mean, forget about just kickoff. When they had him playing tailback, he just ran over people.
Just think, the way the offensive line played in the playoffs, imagine him behind the offensive line. Imagine him. He would have been, I mean, Michelle got over 100 yards twice and 90-something
94, I think, in the Super Bowl.
in the Super Bowl. Imagine Patterson running behind that line.
You know, and he's not the greatest receiver, but he wasn't the worst either.
He made a couple of big catches. That pass down the middle that time against Miami, the long pass, and then the one on the left side when he leaned down.
Yeah.
You know,
So he's a phenomenal athlete. I mean, I don't know if he's the best athlete on the team, but he's this combination of size and speed are not easy to find.
but just think if Dorsett and Patterson came back, and if Brady worked with them during the summer,
Right.
if he worked, I mean, those two guys could really be helpful. With Edelman, hopefully Gronk's coming back, and if they sign Amendola,
Well, we know Hogan's not coming back.
no, he's got to go.
You know, he just didn't get open. Now, the interception wasn't his fault. That was just a terrible pass by Brady.
But the other times when they got stopped in the first half, I mean, no one was getting open for Brady. Everybody said he had a terrible game. He threw for 260 yards,
Yeah, he
close to
the
60%.
The fourth and one that he tried to hit Gronk, that was not a completable pass.
But that would, McDaniels, he drives me crazy. He calls the wrong plays. I mean, 4th and 1. It's just that I get upset. Number one, he has his back's too deep. 7 yards back on a 4th and 1. If you're going to run it, get him 4 yards behind Brady. Go with a quick hitter. Linebackers can't come up quick enough to make that tackle. I keep forgetting, what's the fullback's name again?
Devlin.
Devlin, 4 times. He ran the ball 6 times, scored 4 touchdowns. The other 2 times he got first downs. In the Super Bowl, they don't run him once. I mean, I'm screaming, run him.
Well,
You can't stop him. He's 4 yards behind the quarterback, Brady. It's a quick hitter. Before anybody can react, he's bowling through the line.
yeah, he's the best player ever to come out of Brown, probably. But anyway, the other player that we've overlooked is Ryan Allen, who
Yeah.
dropped
He did it.
several punts. You know, I know they work at it because they
That was
drop
the key.
they drop the ball. It looks almost like it's pointed straight down
Yeah.
when they kick it, and the ball hits the 5 and just pops up in the air.
That was a key.
So the combination of Allen and Slater, had 3, critical plays. And, I guess they always used to talk about Brady as being the system quarterback. Maybe Goff's the system quarterback. And that when the Patriots took away what he really wanted to do first, he had nothing.
He couldn't run either. I mean, he made it easy for the Patriots. Every time they blitzed, put pressure on him, he wasn't rolling.
Right.
Just staying in the pocket and getting rid of the ball.
And he took some pretty hard hits. There was one where Hightower and maybe
Yeah.
Van Noy both got him. I was surprised he was able to get up from that one.
Boy, Van Noy has really come along, huh?
Yeah, they say he'll probably sign an extension.
What does he have, 1 year left?
Yes. So they'll try to get his cap down. Brady's cap number for next year, I think, is 27.
27?
So they said if he signed an extension, they could probably get it down to around 20. So you save $7 million there. You have the tight end, Allen, who his cap number is 7.4.
He's gone then.
Yeah, he's gone. And unless he's willing to play for real short money.
But he's an unsung player, too.
Yeah, good blocker.
Yeah.
So,
He's always blocking.
but the Patriots, they're sort of notorious for cheapness and the money actually spent. Now, how that relates to all these assistant coaches leaving, that probably is real. I'm sure they have a coaching budget of X amount of dollars, and Belichick's getting most of it. So
What does he get, $12 million a year?
I think 12 and a half.
And what bonus does he get for winning the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I
He
hope
must
he gets
he gets some pretty good money.
We'll be right back. I tend to be a Celtics defender, but right now, I think any Celtics fan who believes that they can go deep in the playoffs is delirious. The team is not playing with any heart right now. They are playing selfish basketball. The constants of needing to know when to lead, when to share, and when to perform are just not there. And it's not, there's no blame on one player or two players. There's just too many guys that are in it for the name on the back of the uniform, not the name on the front of the uniform.
You know, I've been going to a lot of the games, you know, and I went to the Golden State game. They were on a streak, you know. They were in the middle of the streak where they ended up going winning 9 out of 10. The one loss was the Golden State. In that Golden State game, I'm watching them, and they're playing pretty good basketball against Golden State. Kyrie's up for the game. Then Curry didn't score a point in the first quarter. Celtics are playing really good basketball. I think they were up 6. Well, the second quarter starts. Golden State comes down. Kyrie's wide open on the right corner. Swishes 3. Celtics come down, misses shot. Golden State comes back down. Kyrie's wide open again. Swishes a 3. Now this one, come back. Celtics score a basket. Golden State comes right back down. Right corner, swishes another 3.
Yeah, that second quarter, he was really hot.
And but this 4 in a row, Kyrie hit. The Celtics were in control of the game. What I'm trying to say is they're not mentally tough, the Celtics.
Oh,
They don't care enough.
I agree. They tend to get off to a reasonable start, and then the second quarter and the third quarter, they just sleepwalk through the game.
But Ron, the third time, after Curry hit 2 in a row, the Celtics scored a basket. Then Golden State comes down, and Curry's wide open, and I think it was Tyson the game there, not covering. Tyson's looking around, and he runs to try to block the shot. Curry buries 3. They're not focused. They're not. When you talk about mental toughness, they don't have any mental toughness.
I think if you watch a game this way, you'll get more out of it. If you watch a team on offense, look at how quickly the ball moves around. Are there paint touches and ball reversals? Your chances of scoring after a paint touch and a ball reversal are dramatically higher than without it. And defensively, if you just look at the proximity of the defenders as the ball reaches the offensive player, if they're right on them because they're hustling and getting in position and moving on the pass, they're going to have a pretty good defense. If they're just going half speed, 3/4 speed, closing out inefficiently, the offensive players, you're most open at the time you catch the ball. And your highest chances of scoring are within the first 2 seconds after you touch the ball. So look at the game that way, and you'll be able to have a pretty good idea how it's going to go really quickly. Like the end of the game, the Celtics and the Clippers, the whole fourth quarter was just a disgrace.
You know, I went to the Laker game. You know, I went to the, who was it? I went to the game Sunday. They played unbelievable. They shut down Westbrook, but George had a great game. But it was a great game. The Celtics played really good all around basketball. Did a good job on Westbrook. So you think, you know, they beat Oklahoma City, who had won 7 in a row. And I guess since the Celtic game they've won 2 in a row. They're playing great basketball. In that game there, you say, okay, the Celtics look good. They're on a streak. They're looking real good. Then they go beat Cleveland. Close game at Cleveland.
Right.
And then, you know, I'm excited about going to the Laker game. I go to the Laker game and, you know, they're playing good basketball. They're up by 18. And then all of a sudden, well, it started from the beginning. Kyrie, he knew they were on national TV. And it was all about Kyrie in that game.
Yeah, he had a bad game.
It was all about Kyrie, just ruined the whole game for the Celtics. And you know the players got down because he was just controlling the ball, going into the lane. He couldn't do anything right. At the end of the game, he scored some points. But he caught in that Laker game, just quickly, they're up 6 points with 1:20 to go.
Had a bad turnover.
No, Pope hits a 3. Kyrie's covering him. Kyrie was lazy getting over there. I'm watching it right in front of me. Kyrie didn't move. He's daydreaming. He's watching the play. He's under the basket. Pope breaks to the corner. Kyrie, a split second later, realizes, oh, there's Pope. Pope gets the ball, swishes a 3. They come down. Kyrie turns the ball over. LeBron James is stuck on the baseline, goes up in the air and fires the ball on the floor trying to throw it off a Celtic, bounces up in the air, they get the ball, 50-50 ball, kick it to LeBron, he hits a three. And then at the end of the game, 3 Celtics touch the ball and Rondo
Right,
gets
Horford
it.
was there, Tatum could have had it, and
Morris was
Morris
there.
kind of gave one of these alligator arm things. They just didn't really play like they wanted the ball.
But
that play.
defensively, the Lakers scored 129 in that game, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
No defense against them. I mean, they were soft and they weren't mentally tough. And then the Clipper game. But, here's where it comes down to. Anybody who's a Celtic fan knows. Morris. When is the last time you saw Morris make a good pass? Really? When have you seen him penetrate and dish? Never.
Well, it's, the proverbial black hole, like McHale. If you pass the ball into McHale, he's going to shoot
But
it.
here's what I'm trying to say. Morris never passed the ball, only when he's shut down. He looks to take the shot, so he's one-on-one. Most of the year he's done a pretty good job, but he's one-on-one. Tatum, I don't remember when he made I've watched every Celtic game. When is he? Maybe 3 great passes this year?
He made a nice pass to Brown earlier in the week, but I mean, there's so few, it's easier to remember.
But there's Tatum. When he gets the ball, he's going one-on-one unless he gets shut down. Rozier, the point guard. Forget about Rozier passing the ball. The only time he passes the ball is when he gets shut down and doesn't have a shot. Other than that, he's dribbling, going under his legs, spinning, and he's looking to take a shot. The point guard. Now, he's the point guard on the team. All right? Smart, he's been shooting a lot better. He's not good for that offense. He's not a good player in that offense. He doesn't fast break when they run. The best lineup they have when you want to go into transition is Brown, Hayward, Rozier, even though he doesn't pass the ball, Tice, sometimes Hoffman in the game other than Tice, and maybe Tatum in there with them. They run the floor. I mean, fairly well. That's when they've looked the best offensively.
Tice was really outstanding against the Lakers. That may have been his best game that he's played.
But Ron, you got 4 guys there. And then Kyrie's doing his dancing. He's a great player, but he's doing his dancing. And you think the other players love that? Watching him dance, spin, and throwing up crazy shots? I mean, he's had a real good season, but, they watch him in a Laker game playing like that. They don't want to play with a guy like that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because Morris said after the last game, it's not fun. And it's never fun when you're not winning. It's a lot more fun to win than lose, that's for sure. I mean, it's profound.
Here are the 3 guys that one of them was my favorite player, Tatum, last year. The 3 guys that are killing that team, Morris, Tatum, Rozier. None of them play defense. Rozier tries a little, but he stinks defensively. Every time I hear one of these sportscasters say how good Rozier is defensively, he stinks defensively. I've never, ever seen a guy get beat as much as Rozier gets beat. He can't play defense.
Yeah.
Morris doesn't want to play pressure defense, and Tatum's in a fog playing defense.
Well, I think that legendary Pistons coach Chuck Daly said it best, that players are looking for 48 minutes, 48 million, 48 shots. So money, minutes, and shots are a problem, and the fact that the Celtics got extra time for Brown and Rozier last year made them think they were going to be stars this year. And there's only a certain number of minutes. Hayward's got to get minutes to get back to form. Everyone overestimated how quickly he was going to come back and be the same guy. We don't know if he's ever going to be the same guy.
The thing with Hayward, though, Ron, right, what people understand, he's the best passer on the team. I mean, Kyrie could be if he wants to be, but sometimes he makes these stupid passes. He goes in the lane. But Kyrie probably is the best passer. But Tatum's right there. Hayward's right there. Tatum stinks as a passer. He doesn't think passing. Brown isn't a good passer. Rozier's a terrible passer. And Morris doesn't pass either. So you got 4 guys in that team that can't pass the ball, don't want to pass the ball, they want to score. I mean, that's the team you have. I mean, they got a talent. They won 9 out of 10. They were beating the Lakers. They were beating the Clippers by 28 points. But they were all over there. They're not mentally. You know how you talk with your kids about being mentally tough? On defense, they're in a fog.
Well, you look at the game against the Clippers, for example. Montrezl Harrell just ran rings around everybody just out of desire. He wanted the ball more. He wanted to get the ball inside and score.
And I'm not blaming Horford because I thought Horford, during this streak they had, was playing the best basketball he's played in a long time. Horford's been playing really good. There are times when he has to go, when he's playing like every other day game, you can see he's a little tired, a little sluggish.
Well, they're missing Baines.
But the one guy I do not blame, the number one player, they all should play like Horford's playing. And I get on Brown at times because I think he's in a fog defensively. But there are times that Brown is helping out a teammate. Like I didn't know about it. I thought it was Brown's man when he got the 4-point play. Brown came over to help out because one of his players was just trotting down the field. But Brown does that at times too. He doesn't hustle. There's a problem there, and I think the number one problem, and I've been saying it.
I know you're going to say.
Is Stevens. He's the number one problem, Ron. He cannot coach pros. He's afraid to coach and criticize a veteran. I don't know. The players he likes to get on are Brown and Tatum at times, but more Brown. But Morris should be sitting down. They got the game against the Lakers. He shouldn't have been in the game. He hit the three towards the end, this first shot. He was just moping around the court. He was upset because he couldn't hit a shot. He's been in a slump lately. You'd think Stevens would say, okay, you don't have it today, you're going to sit. Brown was playing really good in that game. He takes Brown out. But the player who should be really upset at him is Brown because even last year, Brown would score 16 points in the first quarter, and he'd sit out for 8 minutes in the second quarter. And what's wrong with Stevens? That's when you play the guy and say, hey, you're playing great, stay in there.
What we've learned is, the saying is you can't have too much talent, but sometimes you can have too much talent because then there's not enough minutes and shots to go around.
But he's not as good as people think he is, Stevens. I said it last year, and everybody says, how can you say that? Look at the way he's playing. I said, I see things. I see the way he played defense. I see the way they handle the pick and roll and the pick and pop. He's not teaching them right. And the players either are not listening to him, or he doesn't know what he's doing on with his defense, even though they were one of the top defensive teams in the league.
Well, when I had a chance to see him at practice last year, they had a lot of technical explanation about covering off-ball screens and so forth, and he's teaching them the right way. Now, whether guys are willing to do the right things.
Well, whose fault is that? What would you, as a coach, you wouldn't because you're too nice. But as a coach, if I saw players continuously do what the opposite of what I said, they're going to be sitting down beside me.
Well, you know what happens
Why
to nice
doesn't
guys,
Steven
right?
take them out?
Anyway, but now, this pursuit of Anthony Davis. Are we going to trade the whole team for Anthony Davis for a year? We're going to trade all the draft choices and Tatum and Brown and Smart for a year of Davis? I don't understand this.
Here's what I would like to see him do. Number one, you can think I'm crazy. They shouldn't have signed Smart. They shouldn't have signed Smart because he's hurting the development of Brown and Tatum. Brown and Tatum would be much better defensive players now if Smart wasn't there. Smart's there because the coach is going to put him on the best players all the time. And Brown and Tatum, their mentality is, okay, we got Smart here to play defense. But even though Smart's having a good year shooting the ball, he's hurting the team offensively. He's not in the flow of the offense properly, Smart. I just don't like the way, when he's in there offensively, I don't like the way the team operates. And defensively, I think Tatum and Brown would grow better without him. And then they would sign Rozier at the end of the year.
I want to know why that 2 or 3 times a game, it seems, guys foul, guys taking 3-point shots. That should never happen.
They're in another world.
Yeah.
But no, the reason why I brought that up, you're getting to what I would have liked to see the Celtics do. Let Kyrie go if he wants to. You don't beg him to stay. Let Kyrie, tell Kyrie, I don't know if he could sign him now. Could he sign him now or does he have to wait?
No, he has to wait till July 1st.
He's got to go to Kyrie now and say, Kyrie, I want to know, are you going to sign with us or not? I know it's tough, but if you got a pretty good, just give me a feeling what you're thinking. If it's 50-50, he's got to go to Rozier and say, listen, you're going to be a restricted free agent. I'm thinking about signing you. And they got to change. And if they do that and Kyrie goes, then they got to work with Rozier about being a true point guard and think about passing the ball before shooting. Let Kyrie go. Don't trade for Davis. Go with this group. Go with this group now and hope that Hayward turns out to be the player he was. And this group can't compete. They got 3 draft picks, get a couple of guys that'll help the team, maybe a good defensive guard, guy who can shoot a little, to work with these guys and just go with these guys. Going to most of the games, I would love to see that team develop, and talk to Tatum, get Tatum to be the player that he should be defensively, and Brown working with Hayward and maybe Rozier and get another guard. Now that you signed Smart, you got him. And you let Morris, get rid of Morris. Morris doesn't fit that team.
No, Morris is
He's
gone.
a big mouth. He wants to score. He doesn't pass. He hardly rebounds. Get rid of Morris and just go with that. Tice, bring him in at the 4 at times with Horford. You got Baines, and go with that group. And the fans wouldn't mind that. They would like to see a young team develop, see how far they can go. I'm not worried about Kyrie leaving. If he wants to leave, let him leave. And don't get Davis, because you don't want to give up the young players.
Well, I think the issue is always about players wanting to build their own team. So whatever the general manager wants, if Kyrie and Kevin Durant want to go to the Knicks, they're going to go to the Knicks. See how that goes. Now, since Dennis Smith is now on the Knicks instead of the Mavericks, I'm sure Dennis Smith, the last thing he wants to see is Kyrie Irving. He'll never see the ball again.
Well, they'll probably make a deal to get rid of Smith if Kyrie goes there.
They have to.
But wouldn't you like to see that as a fan? Rozier I loved when he came out of Louisville, but he's really getting me down because he's thinking too much about shooting. With all those offensive players, dish, penetrate and dish. When you have the open shot, I like to see him shoot the 3 off the pass, not off the dribble.
They were playing really well. They were getting 30 assists a game. When they're not playing very well, they're getting 20 assists a game. And it's not hard. You get easier shots because somebody passed you the ball where you could score.
But Ron, when they look at 30 assists, they think they're moving the ball. Here's where the assists come in.
Yeah,
all right.
Pass to 3.
Bring the ball up and pass it to Morris. Morris going to dribble around, pull up, and hit the shot. Dribble the ball, pass it to Tatum. Even if Tatum takes 10 seconds before he takes a shot, he hits it, there's an assist. So people think, 30 assists. But the guy's just throwing someone the ball, and they go, Brown's going one-on-one. And another thing I would tell Brown, I do not want you shooting a 3-point shot until you start taking the ball to the hoop. He's next to, you got Jordan as the best taking the ball to the hoop, okay? You got a couple of, LeBron, of course, is one of the best going to the hoop. And I think Brown, next to maybe 5 players that I've seen, is the best taking the ball to the hoop. That's what he's got to start doing. But the problem with Brown is at times, when he takes the ball to the hoop, you never see him kick to someone who's wide open. That's the time to kick, unless you have a layup.
Yeah, the other guys can take the ball to the hoop. Obviously, Harden after he dribbles the air out of the ball, and Westbrook.
Yeah. But
Tremendous.
Brown is so good, and he stays in the air. He could be a great player. And then take the 3-point shot off the pass. Now, the other night when things were going bad, he gets the ball, he's standing there with the ball, 3 steps behind the 3-point line, and he decides to take a 3. Now, not stepping into a shot, he's flat-footed, and he decides I think he just caught the rim. You would think in that situation he would maybe up fake, take it strong to the hoop, maybe get fouled. Tatum's good going to the hoop too. But none of them think passing. You want to see great passing off of penetration.
Well, as you can tell, we don't know anything about this. We hardly care at all, and there's no reason we're ever watching these teams playing forward.
The funniest thing, though, is when I told my friend to take the tickets back after the LA Laker game. He gave me the tickets because he couldn't go. We go together.
Yeah.
He goes, Ralph, I can't go to the Clippers game. Now, we're on the train going to the Laker game. So he sends it to my phone, but I never took them. I was going to take them later on. So after the Laker game, we're on the subway going back to Oak Grove. I said, take these, you don't want to know what I said, tickets back. So he took the tickets back, and he got credit for them.
We'll be right back. It seems that when we left off, we were talking about the hot stove league not being so hot. And it's gotten a little bit more interesting, but not so much because of player movement, because the big dogs are still out there. The Red Sox, Craig Kimbrell, who's free agent now, is still a free agent. We haven't really heard about any teams offering him anything. Still talk about Kimbrell and the Braves. Bryce Harper, now there's talk about San Francisco. Supposedly the White Sox, I think, had offered him 7 years and $175 million, and he's thinking $30 million a year. So my math says that the $25 million is not $30 million. Now Harper He's always hurt, plays hard, so I don't know what he's worth. And Machado, I think the Yankees don't really want him. And not really clear. He talked about not being Johnny Hustle, and maybe that's going to come back and bite him. I don't know. It doesn't really feel like these guys are going to get the money they thought they were going to get.
I don't think Machado's. He may luck out, but you got to think most owners don't want him. I mean, they would take him for $20 million, but a guy like him, look at what Martinez got, $25 million last year, coming off of 2 real good seasons. Don't forget he had 44 homers. Was it for Arizona?
Yeah.
44 homers in 120-something games. You know, and then having this great season he had last year, and he's making $25 million. That's where it should be for. If Harper, I wouldn't give Harper more than $25 million. He had $240 last year. Why should he get more than $25?
Well, I think people get, just because these guys are young, I think they're 26 years old, Harper and Machado are not Trout and Betts. They're just not. I mean, as far as 5-tool guys who give you your money's worth every time, every at-bat, every running the ball out.
They should not give him more than $25 million. I mean, if I'm an owner in Machado, if I needed him at third a shot, you know, I would offer him like 5 years at $20 million. I'd give him $100 million. I mean, come on. He didn't have a great year last year. He's a troublemaker, and he pouts half the time. You know, you're going to give a guy more than that? And then Harper, he had $240 last year. You're going to give him more than $25 million? More than Martinez? There's no way. I mean, he's young. He's got the reputation, but he doesn't have the stats.
Well,
and I would not give a guy who has a reputation and not the stats.
And they haven't really established that they're winners.
They thought they were going to get $40 million.
I know. Well,
Weren't you going to give him $40 million for 1 year?
Well,
You said,
you know, now my son is an economist, and he says it's a very different deal if you're a player. If you say you're Trout, offer yourself to the highest bidder. Offer yourself for $40 million, for $50 million, but say for 1 year. So that way you're not tied in forever. The player doesn't, I mean, how much security do you need? If you've already made $60, $70 million, I don't think you're worried about where the next meal's coming from.
and then how about these players now getting a 6-year contract with a 3-year out?
Oh, yeah.
Is that ridiculous? So you're giving a guy $30 million for 6 years. There are contracts out there, 30. Well, look at Price.
Well, I remember Ricky Henderson was with Oakland. He was getting, at that time, big money. He had a 4-year deal for $12 million. He said, I want to renegotiate. And Oakland said, we'll give you 2 years for 6. He said, no way. So, you know, they want the security, but they want the upside too.
Yeah, but I mean, the way it is now in sports, I mean, I would not give Harper. I mean, they're talking about $10 million. I mean, 10 years, 300 million. There's no way. If I had Harper, I would say, okay, I'll give you a 5-year contract, maybe at 125 million. 5-year contract, the most I would do. Machado would be 20 million, so he's in trouble because he wants 30.
Let's say I'm your agent and I say, Ralph, I think we're going to get you 8 years at $35 million a year. And then all of a sudden, it's not there. Who do you blame? Oh, I have a lousy agent. As opposed to the owners only have, I mean, the owners can pay whatever they want. They've got the money. I mean, you know, I don't like to hear owners say, cry poor mouth. Come on, give me a break.
But how old's Trout? Is he feel young?
Yeah, he's young. He
Right.
and Betts were, I think, the same year drafted.
There's 2 players I would definitely give right now if I was an owner. I'd give $35 million a year for 10 years with no out. That's Betts and Trout.
Well, there's one more.
Judge. But Judge, I wouldn't give him 10 years because he's going to be 28. So
Is he that old?
Yeah. He
Really?
came out, I think he's going to be 28 or 27. So Trout, Judge, I would say 8 years. You know, 8 years and maybe $245 million. You know, but Betts and Trout, you'd give the 30, because you know they're never going to have a down year. They're never going to strike out, you know, 150 to 200 times. They're always going to have, they're good all-around, great all-around players. They're the 2 best players in baseball. So, I mean, Betts is looking at this. But if I were the Red Sox, I'd hit it hard, and I wouldn't give him an out. I'd say it's got to be, you're not going to have an out after 5 years. You know, I mean.
Yeah. Well, you know, was it Super Bowl Sunday? Betts won the PBA Pro-Am. The Celtics won. I think that was Oklahoma. The Bruins won, and then the Patriots won.
Yeah, well, we were on a train coming back from my daughter and I from the Oklahoma City game. So there's this two guys sitting, down beside us, and I go, they're talking about the Patriots. I said, the Patriots are winning. I says, I know from history they're going to win because, number one, I'm confident they're going to win, but the Celtics won. When Boston team wins the first game, every time I look at it, if they win the first game, then the other teams win. So the Patriots won and the Bruins won that day. I've had days where the first team loses and then the whole day goes bad. So.
Well, I was listening to a podcast before the AFC Championship game. The guy says, well, here's my rationale. If I bet against the Chiefs and I'm wrong, whatever. He says, if I bet against the Patriots and I'm wrong, I'm going to say, like, what's the matter with me? I bet against the Patriots. They always win. So, obviously, fans around the country must be livid as far as they just can't believe the Patriots keep winning.
But they're all jealous, number one.
Sure.
But, I mean, how can you not root for a guy like Brady? A good guy, a really good guy, great family man, right? And he wins, but he's clutch. I mean, even in the game where things weren't going great in that first half, I mean, it wasn't all him. It was that bad pass, the interception. But other than that,
well,
look what he did in the last drive. The drive when they scored a touchdown.
It's good to be able to root for nice people. I think LeBron is a nice enough guy. He hasn't been in a lot of scandals. I thought he must have gained a lot of weight when he was hurt. He looked gigantic. I don't know what he looked like in person, but on TV he looked enormous, like he gained 10 or 15 pounds. Not that it affected his game, because he still does everything.
But I've always loved winners. I love the UConn girls team. I love their program. I love Alabama football. I like Clemson football because they win, but they execute the way you want a team to execute when you're watching them. I mean, they play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Exactly.
The Patriots, look at the Patriots players compared to the Celtic players. And I'm a huge Celtic fan. You compare the Celtics babies right now, they need an attitude change, to the Patriots on every possession, every play, they give 100%. They're knocking heads. They know their assignments. They give everything they have. And then you watch the Celtics who can't friggin' stay with a player.
Well, the number one concern for Red Sox fans is probably the bullpen, because Matt Barnes, although he had excellent stats last year and was fine in the playoffs, closing is a different deal. I mean, you see players all the time who can't close. Like the guy who I think could close, even though it's scary to have a knuckleballer as a closer, is Wright. I think he's pretty carefree.
I'm going to tell you right now, okay? If the Red Sox and Yankees don't have serious injuries, okay? Last year I predicted, even though I'm a huge Yankee fan, that the Red Sox had better talent. They were going to win. Don't worry about it during the season.
The Yankees' bullpen is superior right now.
The Yankees are going to run away from the Red Sox this year. They'll beat them by 10 games. The team the Yankees have now and the team the Red Sox have now, the Red Sox fans are going to get, I'm telling you right now, they're going to get so upset at the Red Sox for blowing games left and right because they have no bullpen.
Well, I think the bullpen's a serious issue. I think they're looking to rely on guys who are not proven over the long haul. Barnes is not proven. Brazier's not proven. And then we got a bunch of other guys, Thornburg, et cetera.
You know what they better hope they sign? They better sign Kimbrel. They can sign him.
Yeah, they could.
They better sign him, because if they don't sign him, I'm telling you, the Yanks will beat him by 10. If they sign Kimbrel, it'll be a battle.
Well,
that's going to be a huge factor.
The analytic system, Pacoda, which is one of these computer-generated things, which isn't always right by any means, picked the Yankees to win 96 games this year and the Red Sox to win 90. So there tends to be some mean reversion, and that guys who underachieve, like Sanchez last year, overachieved. Judge is going to play more games. He missed a lot of time with his wrist.
Stanton will play better.
Yeah, Stanton will
be better. And the pickups they have.
Yeah.
I mean, Gregorius is going to be out for half the season. But they're going to move.
Tulowitzki.
Yeah, no, they got the other guy from Colorado.
Oh, LeMahieu.
But they're going to move Torres to short probably and LeMahieu to second until
the Yankees
Gregorius comes back.
The Yankees definitely improved themselves a lot. The Red Sox, stayed with a pat hand.
The Yankees have to be favorite. If the Red Sox sign Kimbrel, then I think that'll sway it, go back. But the Yankees will still be the favorite.
Well, and people, not everybody's remembering, Sale, whether it was injury, fatigue, whatever, he's running dry after 150 innings. I was thinking the sensible move for the Red Sox to try to get another starter, sell Sale, we're going to move you to closer and give you an extra $5 million for this year. We'll just pay you more, $5 million. Your arm will only have 70 innings instead of 175 or 200 innings. You'll get more money, and then you're a free agent at the next year. You can do whatever you want.
I think the guy they should put in the bullpen is Eovaldi. Eovaldi should be their closer. That's what if they don't get Kimbrel, if they don't sign Kimbrel, they should move Eovaldi there. They'll still have the good pitching, starting pitching. They'll have Eovaldi in the bullpen, throws 99, has that splitter now. I mean, he'll be effective. He may be as effective as Kimbrel was during the year last year.
Well, there's a lot of talk about them trying to move a catcher. I guess the idea is save $2 million here by getting rid of Christian Vasquez. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, they need to keep him.
They love Leon, who can't hit at all. He had one season where he hit for half a year.
What are you going to do with Swihart?
Swihart is,
Swihart.
He's a utility guy. To me, the other question is, do you think Pedroia's knee is going to hold up?
I hope. I like Pedroia.
No, I know you love Pedroia, but I don't think his knee is going to hold up. I mean, he's had a long time to recover.
You would think he would be, well, we'll see.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, he's walking around Arizona and he's good. Well, that's different than playing ball every
Well, he's
day.
getting his $14 million.
Oh, no, he's getting paid. I'm not worried about his, financial situation.
No, but I'd like to see him play.
Oh, no, I'd like to see him too. And then what's the skinny? Rafael Devers. Looks like he's on a hunger strike.
Is he down?
Well, yeah, he looks like he's lost at least 15 pounds.
He's going to be, he has a chance to be big time.
Yeah, he could hit 30 home runs.
He has a chance to be huge.
He could play better. The catchers could play better. First base was, up and down last year at times. Maybe with Pierce and Moreland platoon system, they'll get a little more production. But
it's going to be fun. I mean, I love watching the Yankees. I watch every one of their games, and I like watching the Red Sox. I mean, I love, I'm a big Yankee fan, but I like watching the Red Sox play almost as much as the Yankees because I love baseball.
Well, I would be more than happy if they put the DH in the National League because it's boring to watch pitchers hit. And the players would like it because it gets one more everyday player in the lineup every day. I don't know about this rule about pitchers got to face 3 batters. I mean, I don't really hate it, but whatever.
Well, high school sports, right, Ron? It's going to be exciting in the playoffs. We've got the hockey team.
The hockey
one
team,
loss.
The hockey team is battling to get into the Super 8. It's really the Super 10 because you get a chance to play into the Super 8. I don't remember the last time Melrose was in the Super 8. It's been a long time. And of course, there haven't been too many public school teams that have won. I think Reading won the Super 8.
Yeah.
And I think Hingham might have won the Super 8.
Hingham's had some good years. But, you look at them, they've only have one loss to Reading, 2-0 loss.
Right, one loss.
They tied St. John's Prep, 3-3 in the game. So that's really, I'm really happy for them. I mean, they work extremely hard. The coaching staff's excellent.
I think I read it was Coach Mirasolo's 8th year.
Yeah. And the girls are doing pretty good, right?
Girls are doing okay. They beat Watertown, I think, the other day.
Shut them out.
7-1 or 7-0?
I thought it was 7-0. What's their record? They're in the tournament, right?
I'm not sure. And then, of course, girls basketball, we've seen a number of their games, and they're clocking in Division 2 North in 3rd place right now. The question is, how are they going to do against the better defensive teams? I think they are a solid defensive team. They have the senior leadership with the captains and Sam Dewey, who's rim protector, and they're very good in both man-to-man and zone. Mary Kate Mahoney's really come on, I think, at point guard. So they look solid. They don't really have any tough games left in the regular season. So ultimately, it's probably going to get back to them in Pentucket again.
Yeah, you got some other tough teams. You got Tewksbury, who beat them in a close game. That could be a tough game. They have a center who can go up against Sam Dewey. Usually Melrose has a big advantage at center. And then you have the McDonald at the 4 position, 2 very good rebounders. But the one girl on that team?
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith is the steadiest player on that team. She does everything well. She plays. I watch her. I love defense. You know, I look at the defense, and you know, you always had Cunningham. Lily Cunningham was as the top defensive player on the ball, and Lily's still one of the top defense players. But Sam Smith has come so far defensively. I watch her. Never gets beat. Never gets beat off the dribble. And her and Mary Kate did a great job. Has done a great job the last 3 games, denying penetration.
I think the issue for the team is to really go back and study the game against Pentucket last year. Pentucket, coached by McNamara, really is a sophisticated offensive team. They run a lot of different stuff. They run horns. They run staggered screens with Iverson cuts. They run flex. They run reverse action. All of these things can be defended, but you can't just defend them because you want to play good individual defense. You have to know what's going on. You have to talk on defense, and you have to have a strategy to defeat them. And last year, Pentucket went to the Iverson cut twice with Yakabuchi. They got 5 points out of 2 plays. They got 2 layups, and 1 was a 3-point play, and that broke the game open because Melrose wasn't able to defend that. And you got to have a plan. Either you're going under the second screen, or you're going through by dropping the center back and calling through so you can get to that player before they can drive to the hoop. So there's a way to defend these offensive strategies, but you don't know how to do that unless you teach that. And you can use the film to show how to do that.
Yeah, the one thing I worry about with Melrose is if they go up against, you know, even before Pentucket, a team that can play D and pressures you, Melrose has trouble against pressure. You know, they make careless mistakes against pressure. They're not comfortable. They don't attack pressure. I mean, if they play the weaker teams, they can attack it and score. But when they play against a real good defensive teams that can pressure you, Melrose doesn't think attack. They're more defensive minded and gets them in trouble because they want to get rid of the ball right away, and they don't cut to the right spots. But, I mean, the strength of Melrose is their defense. They're physical defensively. Their guards are playing really good defense. The forwards and the center play really good down low. They can rebound. Shooting's going to be a key. If they hit their 3-point shots, that's going to help them out. But I think they have to get Dewey involved right from the beginning. A lot of times they take, against Belmont, against Reading, took them a while to get Dewey involved. They got to get her involved early.
Yeah, I think especially if you're playing against man-to-man teams, what you do is you bring either the 2 or the 1 low and screen them across on the block, so they have to switch. And if they switch, then you got Dewey against a 1 or a 2, and it's going to be a guaranteed foul, 2 points, or a 3-point play. So, but that's strategy. You have to adjust that, and you have to count on other teams switching, because that's a contemporary style to switch everything. But overall, you know, another competitive season for Melrose, and it's fun to watch them be effective. It's nice to see the high school doing some live broadcasts too with YouTube.
Yeah, they have all the cameras. They would drive me crazy though. They went from one camera to the other. The ball's in the air, and then there's another camera on it. I was watching it the other night, but they do a real good job with it.
Yeah, the audiovisual departments deserves credit for getting a lot of kids involved, giving them some good experience and training in this. You know, there's still a lot of games to be played, and you know, ultimately what people remember is what happens in the postseason.
They have a shot, Ron. They have a shot.
They do have a shot. They got the experience, and they've got the good defense, and good defensive teams can play, especially on the road. I've enjoyed being with you tonight. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph LaBella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.